All right. This is the question: is Kirby Smart passing Nick Saban?
Is
I don't want. Who wants to start?
I'll start, man. Not yet, but Nick Saban never won back. Was never in a position to win three. If Kirby Smart wins three, then you can really start talking about the conversation. But six at Alabama, right?
Yes, 7 total.
Six. Nick Saban's the greatest college football coach of all time. I think Kirby Smart is on his way to becoming one of those coaches.
Well,
He's
wait.
still got a long way to go.
Well, we'll get into that a little bit more. And Matt, I don't know,
Yeah.
Matt, if or Ryan, if you heard Matt break up, did you say he didn't win back-to-backs in the college football playoff? Because obviously Alabama did win it in 11
Yes,
and 12.
that's what I meant. Yeah.
Well, it broke up, so I don't know what you said. All right, Ryan,
Okay.
go ahead.
we're talking about all time or right now? I think those are different conversations.
I think
Just
it's
throwing them both in.
Yeah, it's Ryan's
whatever you
perspective.
want. Yeah.
I think that Kirby's the best in the sport right now. If we're like in current time, I like that he's the guy I'd want. But legacy wise, I mean, it's going to take a lot for anyone to pass Nick Saban.
You would take Kirby right
I
now.
would say we're talking about I want my team to be coached and my team to be recruited and put together in 2023. I'd take Kirby Smart. He's doing it better than anyone is for the last 2 years.
What do you make of that statement, Matt?
Oh yeah, I think it's probably right. I'm trying to relate it to basketball. You guys are big basketball guys. If Nick Saban is Michael Jordan, who has the best career, right? Where would is Kirby Smart, Kevin Durant, where he's the best for 2 straight years and maybe getting better, or is he the Steph Curry right now, who has the potential to be a top 5 player all time? Could Kirby Smart be a top 5 coach ever of all time? I think doing it at a place like Georgia helps his resume a lot too. It's where he's been. Everyone knows the story. It's not like he's went to Texas after going to Alabama and doing it there. He's doing it for his school, the team he played for. I think that goes a lot into his legacy, his resume, whatever you want to call it. But right now he's on top. He's the best, and I think he has the potential to be on the same level as the GOATs. But, again, it's going to have to take probably at least 2 or probably 3 more titles to get in that overall, all-time conversation.
So we're going to talk about the all-times in a second. As it relates to the basketball analogy, I would say he is at minimum Kobe, who why are your eyebrows going up?
I mean, Kobe's top 10, man. Are we talking about Kirby's one of the 10 best coaches ever already?
I think you have to start having a conversation about that because here's why. It's not ridiculous. I mean, they just beat a team in the national championship by 50-something points. I mean, in the national championship game, not in the Cheez-It Bowl, okay? Okay, they have gone 14-1 and 15-0. You can read about 15-0 in Double Dogs, and if you do not order by Sunday at 11:59, you're not getting confetti. You have been warned. I am warning y'all. Get it done now. Get it done now. There's not going to be exceptions. It's the story of the 2022 season. The Georgia Bulldogs finishing laying it out now. There's some exceptional pictures in there and insight. I think, y'all, the problem is, you don't want to go so fast. I wouldn't call Dabo Swinney a top 10 college football coach of all time. And the last couple of years has sort of confirmed that. But I think the difference there is, or not John McAvick, Mac Brown at Texas. I don't think you could really make the argument for him. But what you're seeing right now at Georgia is the combination of several things at once. First of all, you have an extremely successful and driven head coach. Secondly, you have an institution that should have been this good for some time, or at least approaching this good, and is only now coming into its own and realizing how important it is. But we don't know where we are on this path. We really don't. If you like this sweatshirt, by the way, celebrating 4 of Georgia's actual 8 national championships, Georgia should claim all of them. You can pick that up. It's from Red Zone. Matt, who's the best college coach all time besides Nick Saban? I think all of us agree it's Nick. But who else are we talking about here? I mean, you can't compare Kirby to Bo Schembechler.
The Bears number 2, and Steve Spurrier, I think, has to be up there. I think Urban Meyer might have to be up there, and then you start digging to coaches, way back. Lou Holtz was really good. Not sure he's top 10 of all time, but Joe Pa would have been. I'm not sure I would consider him
Wait, why?
that way now. Bobby Bowden.
Yeah, Bobby Bowden for
Yeah.
sure. Why are you going against Joe Pa?
Well, the wins got vacated, right? You can't count all
Yeah,
those
I guess
wins
so.
at the end of the day. But I mean, I get he was there forever, and then a few more years after forever. Dude who was Penn State football. I get what he did, but he 2 national titles, Dean. He won 2 in the '80s with Penn State.
That
Was
was
that
it.
it?
82 and 87. I think that was it. And
Hey,
now
coach. Yeah.
The Penn State folks, I'm sorry, the Penn State folks would say, well, he was not given the capability of winning them because X, Y, Z. Sports Illustrated goes just I mean, I know Sports Illustrated is not what it once was, and I don't want to get on all that, but they go Bobby Bowden at 10. Alonzo Stagg, come on, y'all. This
Yeah.
stupid stuff. Eddie Robinson, I mean, okay.
Modern era is what you can really
Right.
count.
Well,
You
I
can't.
mean, certainly Eddie Robinson would be in the discussion
Yeah.
of modern era, but he'd not do high level Division One. So Woody Hayes at 7, Bo Wilkinson, which is not really modern era necessarily. Pop Warner's not modern era. Tom Osborne was a guy that didn't win it for a
That's a good
long
one.
time, and then of course they have Nick at 1 and the Bear at 2. I don't
Where's
see how
Vince, Dean?
he's not in the top 10,
He could be
but
right outside it. Probably
yeah,
top
I mean,
15.
I don't think. I mean, okay. Who had? I'll go to Ryan first, and then to Matt. Who was the better college coach, Vince or Steve Spurrier? I think it's Spurrier, but go ahead,
Yeah, I
Ryan.
think it's Spurrier as well. I mean, I think with Vince, it was more about just the legacy he left on one program. He, being athletic director, being the coach, he did get the ring, but Spurrier, I mean, they just won a lot, man. We had that same Penn State conversation a few months ago. I think their history's overrated. What they did, I think that if you look between the lines, it's not that great. But I would take Spurrier over Vince. I think Vince is more of just a legend. He was a great coach, but I think his legend is bigger than that.
Yeah, I think Steve Spurrier changed the game,
Yeah.
and he did it at Duke, then at Florida, where he played, where he won a Heisman Trophy, and brought them a national championship, and they were a power. I mean, they just dominated teams in the '90s, and he made it fun.
Does it matter that they only won one national championship? I mean, how much is this about national championships?
A lot, not.
I mean,
not all of it,
is
but
Bob Stoops
yeah.
a better head coach than Dabo?
I think they're kind of right there. I might give Dabo the slight edge just because his story's still being
Yeah,
written, and he could still, have these great seasons. So I think he's on the path to passing him. But I'm a big Bob Stoops guy. That's my boy. Hung out with him in California a few years back. So I like old Bob,
Boy,
but
you gotta stop.
but Dabo's doing some big things at Clemson, or maybe he did big things at
Right.
Clemson. We don't know if he's got another year or two left in him.
Well, I mean, I think there are some folks like I'm just looking at this list here. Saban, Bryant, Dabo's on here, which I think is Bobby Bowden. I mean, would you really put Dabo over Bobby Bowden? I would not. I don't
I
know.
think you have to have Kirby up there if Dabo's up there.
Oh, no question. I mean, I
So
would
you're
put Kirby in front of Dabo every
so,
day of the week. It was
so I
just,
mean
but would
maybe
you put?
he is top 10 already. I
Oh,
mean,
see, I think he is. I mean, I
yeah,
don't know. I mean, I don't think Dabo is a top 10 all-time coach in the college football ranks. And if we're talking about modern era, it goes Nick, Bear, and then who's next? I mean, is it Bobby Bowden? Is it Tom Osborne? Is it Urban? Is it? I mean, Lou Holtz won one national championship. Everywhere he went was put on probation after he left. Ask Arkansas about Urban, about Lou Holtz. Ask South Carolina about Lou Holtz. Barry Switzer, Jimmy Johnson. I mean, these were
Yeah.
really, really good head coaches. Um, you know,
How long was Barry there for? Because Jimmy was in Miami just for 2-3 years. Is that right?
so
Feels
Jimmy
like Barry
Johnson.
was Oklahoma for a little bit before he went to Dallas.
You're talking
I
about
might be getting that wrong.
Barry? Who now? I'm sorry, I could not hear what you were saying, Matt.
Barry Switzer, what he did at Oklahoma
Well,
was, I mean, pretty significant now that I think about it, for sure.
Barry Switzer, when you think about changing the game, I don't know if you could say that Barry Switzer changed college football, but there was a particular thing that they believed in, and they did it all the time. I
Yeah.
mean, Barry Switzer won, if I'm not mistaken, 2 national championships, and I don't know how many they played for, but he won it in 1975, he won it in 1985, and their reign of terror, for lack of a better term, from 84 to 87, those 4 years, they didn't finish outside the top six. In 73, 74, and 75, they were ranked either number one or number two. So, I mean, Barry Switzer, I think I would probably stick him in front of Kirby, but I would want to go through and have a better list. But then, y'all, just real quick, not to skip over Urban. I mean, Urban has done it and has done it at multiple places. I mean, two national championships at Florida and a national championship at Ohio State. He rarely was outside of the top 10 in college. I mean, at Utah, top 10, one of the 2 seasons there. At Florida, 3 of his 5 seasons were top 10, top three. At Ohio State, he only had 1 season where he was not ranked in the top, 6. So, say what you want about Urban, he is really just not a very good human being, I think. But he has been an exceptional head coach. I think you would have to stick him in front of Kirby for sure. And then like Joe Pa, just real quick, I think the problem with Joe Paterno is the legacy of the child rapes. Just being straight up. I mean,
Yeah.
what did he know? When did he know it? And those answers are not running around it. And we don't know the answer to that as much, but it was 82 and 86, and that is a devastating thing on your legacy, and as a human being. But there's not a lot of people that would be in front of Kirby to me, but Nick is one of them. And going back to the original point, y'all, how many more does he have to get? Does he have to equal what Nick's gotten, the 6 at Alabama, or does he have to have 7? I mean, then you're starting to talk about. I think Nick is the best of all time, period. And I think that the Bear has been romanticized. He was exceptional. He just wasn't Nick Saban, and he wasn't doing it at the time. Now, where Nick is having to do it. Ryan, comments?
I mean, he's the clear one. It's undisputed at this point. And you throw the national championship with LSU on top of it. I mean, that's kind of just the icing on the cake, being able to do it at multiple SEC programs. But you look down that list. Bobby Bowden was great. Osborne was great. I do think Kirby's climbing it really fast.
Yeah,
One more,
he
and
is.
he's 100% one of the 10 best coaches, I think, of all time. I think it's hard to as
Oh, he froze. Pick it up, Matt. I don't know what happened there.
No, I'm trying to think of what the resume is compared to the championships. Michael Jordan is the best of all time because he was the most talented, or because he won 2 different, three-peats, right? Maybe it's a little bit of both, but eventually he's going to have to get the same amount of trophies, same amount of rings as Nick if he ever wants to be number one. And Nick's still going. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think Alabama's really going away. His story is still being written. He might, right off into the sunset with another championship or 2, and then it'd be really tough to get. But Kirby's how old? I don't think he's going to be
46.
coaching. Nick Saban's 70, right?
Yeah. Oh,
70,
yeah. Nick's 70, and here's Ryan right back. But you think he's got to catch him, Ryan? Go ahead and conclude your thought there.
I was talking about Urban as all the off-field stuff becomes
It's not good
distracting.
either. Yeah.
It's not good, but as far as what they've done on the field, he's certainly one of the 10 best ever. I mean, with Florida and then going to Ohio State, they just won so much. They were always at the top, and if you're always at the top, I mean, you're one of the best.
But just very quickly here, and we, because Steve Spurrier really did change college football, and I've always associated him with Bear. He's only won 1 national championship. Is it only about national championship? Who would you rather have? Would you rather have, going back to the Dabo comment, would you rather have Steve Spurrier or Dabo? I would rather have Spurrier. And I think that proved it when they played each other. Matt, go ahead.
I think Spurrier too, and what he did, Danny Werfel won a Heisman too. I think that comes into the conversation as well, since that's who he coached. He was the quarterback guy running the offense, and the ability to develop. They were an NFL machine too, and at Florida, they were pumping guys out to the NFL. People remember that, so I think people, when you think, you'd say, "Oh yeah, Steve Spurrier probably won at least 2, right?" No, he didn't, but
Right.
that just shows how good he was, and the program that he built was a monster at the time, even with the one. I mean, Michigan was really good. Tennessee was on the rise. I mean, that
Yeah, but
Tennessee-Florida game was top 5 every year. Nebraska was there. There were a lot of
oh yeah,
programs around fighting for that number one spot
Florida
in the 90s.
State,
Florida State.
Miami to some
Yeah,
degree. I mean,
yeah. So
people want. I'll throw it to Ryan as we conclude here, but people forget the Gators were losers for decades. They were basically South Carolina. Go ahead, Ryan.
I think longevity matters a lot in this conversation too, outside of just the ranks. It's kind of the same. It's the same little LeBron argument, the longevity. Look at how good he's been for a long time. I think that's kind of what you point to with Spurrier. But he was being an iconic figure matters too, and he was.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the website.